The Kingdom's Rise and Fall, a Tale of Kings and Prophets. In the golden days of Israel, King Solomon, the son of David, sat upon the throne. The kingdom stretched wide, its borders blessed with peace and prosperity. Solomon, gifted with wisdom from God, was the envy of nations. He built a temple in Jerusalem, a house for the Lord, a dwelling place for the name of the Most High. The people marveled at its splendor, and the priests ministered as the cloud of God's glory filled the sacred space. When the priests withdrew from the holy place, the cloud filled the temple of the Lord, and the priests could not perform their service because of the cloud, for the glory of the Lord filled his temple. 1 Kings 8:10-11. But as Solomon's wealth and wisdom grew, so too did his heart stray. He married many foreign women and built altars to their gods, bowing to idols in the very land set apart for Yahweh. As Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods, and his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father had been. 1 Kings 11:4. God warned him that the kingdom would be torn from his lineage, though for David's sake, it would not happen in Solomon's lifetime. I will tear the kingdom out of Solomon's hand and give you 10 tribes. But for the sake of my servant David, I will give 1 tribe to his son. 1 Kings 11:31-32. When Solomon died, his son Rehoboam ascended the throne. The people came before him, pleading for mercy from heavy burdens. Instead of heeding wise counsel, Rehoboam's arrogance fractured the kingdom. 10 tribes rebelled, forming the northern kingdom of Israel under Jeroboam, while Judah remained under David's line. So Israel has been in rebellion against the house of David to this day. 1 Kings 12:19, a cycle of kings and chaos. In the north, Jeroboam led the people into sin, crafting golden calves as new gods to worship. Here are your gods, Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt. 1 Kings 12:28. Prophet after prophet rose, calling the kings and people to repent, but the cycle of idolatry deepened. Some kings sought the Lord, but most turned away, leading the nation into moral and spiritual decay. Meanwhile, in Judah, kings from David's lineage rose and fell. Asa and Jehoshaphat brought reforms, tearing down idols and leading the people back to God. Asa did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, as his father David had done. 1 Kings 15:11. Yet their efforts were often undone by successors who worshipped Baal and other foreign gods. Elijah and the fire of heaven. In the days of King Ahab, one of Israel's most wicked rulers, the prophet Elijah stood as a fiery voice of truth. Ahab, son of Omri, did more evil in the eyes of the Lord than any of those before him. 1 Kings 16:30. Ahab and his queen Jezebel promoted Baal worship, leading the nation astray. Elijah confronted them with boldness, declaring a drought upon the land by the word of the Lord. As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years except at my word. 1 Kings 17:1. After 3 years of famine, Elijah summoned Israel to Mount Carmel for a dramatic showdown. Before the people, he challenged the prophets of Baal to call down fire from their God. They danced and cried out all day, but there was no response. Then Elijah prayed to Yahweh, and fire fell from heaven, consuming the offering, the altar, and even the water surrounding it. Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water in the trench. 1 Kings 18:38. The people fell to their faces, crying, "The Lord, He is God." When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God!" 1 Kings 18:39. The fall of the kingdoms. In time, the northern kingdom of Israel faced God's judgment for its unrepentant idolatry. The Assyrian army invaded, and the people were exiled, scattered among the nations. The Israelites persisted in all the sins of Jeroboam and did not turn away from them until the Lord removed them from his presence. 2 Kings 17:22-23. Judah too drifted from God despite warnings from prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah. Even King Hezekiah's reforms could not turn the tide completely. Hezekiah trusted in the Lord, the God of Israel. There was no one like him among all the kings of Judah, either before him or after him. 2 Kings 18:5. Finally, under King Zedekiah, Jerusalem fell to the Babylonians. The temple was burned, the city was destroyed, and the people were carried into exile. Nebuzaradan, the commander of the guard, burned down the temple of the Lord, the royal palace, and all the houses of Jerusalem. 2 Kings 25:9. Hope in the ashes. Yet, even in judgment, God's mercy shone through. The prophet spoke of a day when a new king from David's line would arise. The kingdoms rise and fall, a tale of kings and prophets. In the golden days of Israel, King Solomon, the son of David, sat upon the throne. The kingdom stretched wide, its borders blessed with peace and prosperity. Solomon, gifted with wisdom from God, was the envy